what I learned from having 4 meetings with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I haven't talked a lot about the stuff that we do with the charity. And I don't know why I haven't done it. I think it was just because I didn't want it to feel like we were bragging about it or anything like that. And I think that's why I haven't discussed it as much. But that being said, I've got a ton of things that have been on my mind and a bunch of lessons that I think that I took from speaking with Arnold. We had a breakfast together that was 2 hours long. We went to his house less than a month ago. Actually, shoot, 2 weeks ago. And in all of the instances, I feel like, there's tons of things you can learn from a man like that. But the big thing that I was able to take away was, I want to call it like the optimist, like a delusion of optimism. And what I mean by that is that once, like, the higher the level of success that you achieve, the more noise and hate you will receive, right? And so if you think about like the amount of security we had to go through to get into Arnold's house and all of those things is like just befitting of the fact that there are people out there who send him death threats every day for just existing, right? Because they watched a movie and their wife divorced someone for who looked like him, right? And so that kind of leads to the second thing, which is the more impact you have, the more impressions you make based on the scale that you have. It's just law of large numbers, going to be a larger percentage of batshit crazy people that you got to deal with, right? And so if for some reason the negativity of a trainer or a competitor or a client drags you down, then you don't have the mental fortitude for the success that you want to achieve, because the condition of that success is more, not less, of the hate, of the shit, of the noise that you're currently dealing with. It doesn't go away. It gets louder and louder and louder. And so one of the skills or the disciplines that we have to develop as entrepreneurs, especially if we seek this impact, and that's just so many people that I talk to, so many entrepreneurs are like, I want to impact, I want to help 10,000 people, I want to transform lives. If you want to help 10,000 people, then you have to be prepared to have 500 people who fucking hate you. All right? Because anyone who does anything worth doing is going to have an equal and opposite reaction, right? That's how it is. If you look at every single great religious leader that's ever happened, and it doesn't really matter, almost all of them died, right? And were murdered for what they did. And most people would argue that they were probably good people. But with every positive thing that you do, there's going to be a reaction that's negative, right? And so it's like, I just want to say this sentence to you because it means so much to me, is that hatred is a condition of success. It's a condition. If you have no hatred, if you have no people who hate you, who talk against you, speak against you, then it means you're standing for nothing. Like, you're standing for nothing. Because if there is nothing for anyone to debate against you, then you stand for nothing. And that means that you're not actually having any impact. And so if you fear that kind of confrontation, if you fear that kind of hate, that kind of whatever, then you need to not be in business, or you need to fix that part of yourself, because you will sabotage your own success. You will become successful. The noise and the hatred and the naysayers will increase, and then you will make yourself less successful so that you don't have to deal with it, right? That's like real, right? That's what happens. And so just some of the mental things that I've had to go through, like you have trainers and you have clients, whatever it is, right? The gyms.
Small ebook, big impact, the wealth tree. The only 4 ways that will make you financially free forever. Download it here for free.
One thing that I've seen with Arnold, and on the flip side, Trump, right? And they don't like each other. They're like, Arnold's outspoken against Trump and all that kind of stuff. But one thing that they both share that I really admire is almost a delusional optimism, is that they almost don't even, they don't even address it. They don't even acknowledge the presence of haters. They're just like if you see Trump get attacked, he just won't even acknowledge it, right? And listen, I've never voted. I don't care, right? But the point is, like, their level of mental fortitude, of being able to just exist on a plane that's above everyone else, above all the noises, the condition for them being able to achieve the levels that they've been able to achieve, right? And so one of the things about this that gives me solace is that none of the hatred, none of the trainer who leaves and starts talking shit about you, none of the clients who leave and talk shit about you, none of that ever affects your business. It only affects you, right? And so I think Layla made a post, I don't know, a week or 2 ago, about, like, she was basically like, if anyone talks shit about you, it's because when they talk about themselves, no one gives a shit, right? That's what they said, or that's what her quote said. And she had like 7 different people message her, people who were talking shit about us that we had no idea existed. And so she was like, God, I'm never going to make that post again, right? But the thing is that this is a record month for us. This is the best month in sales we've ever had, right? And amid that, this was when she made this post, and there's all of this negativity. And so you have to remember that if there is negativity, there's also positivity that's coming with it, because as ugly as this sounds, there really is no negative publicity. Like, you know this from the freaking presidential election, right? He won because he owned the conversation, good and bad. He owned it all, right? And if everyone is talking about you, guess who they're not talking about? Anyone else, right? And so you have to be polar. You have to stand for things, because that is going to bring the haters out, and you should welcome it. You should be like, thank you for thinking. Thank you. We had a record sale this month. You're feeding my bank account. Keep going, dude. Keep going. It's awesome, right? And so understanding that the law of large numbers is that the more people you impact, right, the more by percentage you're going to rub the wrong way. And so just like accept it, and then always put things in context. All right. And so when we had our quarterly meeting, whenever someone from the front line or someone from management comes up with something that's like, I think this is a problem, I always ask, all right, what's the number of incidences? And then how many total incidences and then how many total people who could potentially have an incident are there, right? And so I'll give you an example. We had someone who's a manager who was saying, we had a gym owner who complained about PayPal, that like getting paid out from PayPal on the Prestige Lab side. He said, I don't want to sign up because you guys pay for PayPal and I pay PayPal. And she was like, it really bothered me. And I was like, well, how many people has this been a problem? She's like, so I think we should consider switching from PayPal. And I was like, well, how many people has this been an issue for? She was like, well, one. I'm like, how many active affiliates do we have? 1,000. So 0.1% of people had a problem with it. Like, don't even let it touch you. You know what I mean? Don't even let it touch your thought, your mind. Because when you have scale, you have 200 clients. If you have 5 assholes, think about it. It's 2.5% of your entire clientele base. What percentage of humans do you think are kind of crazy? I would say at least 2.5%, at least, right? And so if you can always take apart the problems that arise or that people bring to you and think about it in context of the larger numbers that you're dealing with, I promise you it will make the noise of the world go down, and you'll be able to get to that, to ascend to that higher level. And eventually we can get to the spiritual plane of Arnold and Trump and whatever you feel about them. It's just, you can appreciate the fact that they can exist on another plane and literally just live in a world of delusion where like they're untouchable because they put themselves in this box. And there is a borderline where it does become delusional because you don't take feedback, but because the hate is so loud, they almost can't allow it, right? Like Arnold was attacked at the Arnold Expo where he's like cheering kids on. You know what I mean? Like, people are crazy and you just got to accept that. So let me make sure I hit all my lovely points. Yeah. And so the only thing that you have left to do that actually drives your business is the 4 numbers that I brought up the other day. Is any of these things going to drive more applications? Is it going to drive a higher percentage of close? Is it going to decrease my churn? Is it going to increase my profitability? And believe it or not, the haters, right, that you have, the trainers, the ex-clients, the whatever, right? The likelihood that they're going to really impact, like that they know the majority of the marketplace is basically 0.